Good morning, devotees, and happy Janmastami to everybody. This is a special day indeed, as Krishna says in the Gita, that he who knows the nature of my appearance will never return to this world. So we'll find out eventually what that means. So let's begin. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayet Nasta Prayeshavadrishu Nityam Bhagat Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Rubhavati Naistiki Vanchakalpatarvischa Kripa Sindhuyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Kam karoti vachalam pangum langate girim yat kripatam ham vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Paramananda Maharavam Shri Chaitanyam Ishwaram. So we are on a particular very special day, the appearance of Lord Krishna. So in this afternoon, Srimati Urmila Devi will actually have a presentation, and then His Holiness Devamrita Swami is going to give a class. So why I don't want to go over the same topics, even though they're always relishable and eternal and so on, many other qualities. So let's set the scene for the appearance of Lord Krishna. And this starts about 7 or 8 generations before the appearance of Lord Krishna. There is a battle between the demigods and the demons. This is in the 8th canto of the Bhagavatam. And the demigods win. Of course, the good guys always win at the end. So what happens? That the demons start planning how can they have to regroup, basically, because they were defeated. And we know from history that what do the insurrection the rebels do when they are losing is that they regroup in a remote place, just like the FARC in Colombia regroups in the jungle, and in Sudan in North Africa, the rebels went to the desert, and in Chiapas, they also went to the forest, and in Chechnya, they went to the mountains. Basically, the rebels that are against the government, they just have to go to a remote place where they're not found and regroup and plan a strategy to attack. So the demons, they look at the map and they see what could be a remote place that we can go to. And they choose a little planet called Earth. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are in a remote place in the galaxy. And they have a very good plan, actually. And the plan is to take birth in royal families, in families with lineage, that they will have power. So that way, without firing a shot or an arrow, in this case, they can take over. They can become the natural heirs to the thrones. And they have an army as soon as they grow up. So that's their strategy, which is quite a confident, a bold move. However, they can see it's not that it's completely unknown to Indra that this is taking place. So Indra says, first, well, there was another circumstance that at the time, the Brahmins and the Kshatriyas, there was a little bit of tension. This is before Krishna appears, several generations before. There was some tension between the kings and the Brahmins, the two most powerful classes. And some of the kings actually attack the Brahmins, kill them. So this is a no-no in Vedic culture. You do not kill a Brahman. You don't kill old people. You don't kill women. You don't kill children. So Lord Krishna empowers Parasuram, who was actually a Brahman, and he comes and takes care of the kings. And these are not little people. They just basically eliminates the entire race of Kshatriyas. And then what happens? The Kshatriyas, the ladies are widows, and there will be no more progeny. There will be no one to rule the earth. So they approach the most pure, the Brahmins, those who are devotees, those who are advanced, and they get the benediction that they will give them children. So these children are, unlike the previous kings that they had problems, conflicts in their areas, people with scruples and crime and stealing and killing and so on. These are very powerful. This is a new class, completely new, that they are sons of the most pure and the warrior women. And they, this is all from the Mahabharata, by the way. They actually rule in such a way that there is no crime. Nobody misbehaves, nobody steals, nobody lies, and the kings don't have anything to do. So they just basically go to holy places. They go by a holy river and meditate, and for the benefit of humankind. So there is no no crime. There's no business for the kings at this point. And one of them was Pradipa. Pradipa is the father of Santanu. Santanu is the one who basically starts the main story of the Mahabharata, that eventually Santanu meets Satyavati. I mean, it's a long story. We don't have to repeat it today. And so Pradipa, the great king, is just happy like a dog with two tails by the bank of the Ganges, practicing yoga. So this is right as this was going on, was actually like a golden age during Dwapara Yuga. It was like Satya Yuga and Dwapara Yuga. At this time is when the demons start taking birth in all the different families. There is also the story of Kalanimi. Kalanimi is a very envious, violent demon that attacks Vishnu himself. You should know better than attack Vishnu. So he throws a trident up in the sky. He's riding a lion, and he throws a trident with tremendous force towards Vishnu. And what does Vishnu do? He grabs the trident in midair, turns it around, and throws it with such force that it goes through the body of Kalanimi and through the body of the lion, kills both of them. One stroke. So this Kalanimi, this vile, violent, greasy demon, takes birth as Kamsa. Whereas there is other demons that they are more subtle, like Duryodhana and Jarasandha. Kalanimi becomes Kamsa. Kamsa actually didn't have an army. Of course, eventually he took over the Yadu dynasty and did get an army, but Jarasandha had an army. He attacked Krishna numerous times, always being defeated. And Duryodhana had an army, but Kamsa was vile and violent and tricky. He will actually send these yogis and mystic beings, these demons, to Krishna, but always disguised in some way. Disguised as a cart, as a wagon, as a maiden, like Putana, the Trinavarta, as a whirlwind. This were not ordinary as a donkey. There's always some kind of trick, and Kamsa was just very vile and violent, just like Kalanimi, because he was very, very envious and not subtle at all. Whereas Jarasandha he played by the rules. He actually fought with, the proper military set of rules. But the demons eventually decided to use illegal weapons, just like the president of Syria used chemical weapons on his people. That's illegal, even to warriors, even during war. You're not supposed to do that. So the demons chose to attack the demigods and humans with illegal weapons. So up until that point, Indra thought, well, I can take care of this. I can take care of business. I don't need to bother daddy or my boss. Just like when there is a rich teenager that just is driving a ultra fast car and or gets drunk or et cetera, he knows that daddy's going to come and fix fix his affairs and bail him out of jail. But he doesn't have to use that. He usually can say, you know who my father is. He's a Supreme Court judge, or he's the chief of police, or this or that, and get out of. But Indra couldn't use his own devices, so he had to use his trump card, no pun intended, and call for the help of Vishnu at this point, who instructed that the demigods should also take birth on earth to help, because he said, we'll fix that, no problem. He told Indra, yeah, it's all good, I'll come and fix things. Indra also saw that there was a prince, Vasu. Vasu was a powerful Kshatriya that did not have a kingdom. And therefore, because he didn't have a kingdom, one of the reasons why he decided, let me just practice some austerities. Why? I don't have a kingdom anyway. Why aspire to rule a little place here and on earth if I can become the king of heaven? So he started practicing austerities, and he was noticed by Indra. He has a very sophisticated spying network. He noticed that Vasu was practicing austerities to become Indra. So Indra said, no, that's not a good idea, particularly because Vasu had a business to do. So he came and discouraged him, please don't do that. You actually have to rule the earth because there are problems, because the demons are taking birth, and you have to become the emperor. Now, the emperor of the earth usually will be situated in Hastinapur. Actually, Magadha, currently Bihar, was also the center of power. The Maurya dynasty and the Gupta dynasty ruled in Magadha. But there's another place, because Vasu was from Chidi. Chidi, if you see the map of India, there is Delhi, and then 90 miles southeast of there is Vrindavan. And if you keep going south, you get to Agra, where Taj Mahal is. And if you keep going, you go to Jhansi, where Prabhupada started the League of Devotees. Well, in between kind of Agra and Jhansi, there was a kingdom of Chidi. And this is for the first time, unprecedented, Indra made Vasu the emperor in Chidi. Departure from the usual geopolitical situation where the ruler was. It's like they moved the White House to Port Royal. That would be almost equivalent to that. So Vasu, who became the father, is a very convoluted story. Vasu became the father of Satyavati, and also had a twin brother. This is how the scene is set for Krishna's appearance. The situation is very volatile, and Kamsa is ruling from Mathura. Mathura is a holy place. Kamsa is not a holy man, so there is a problem there. It's too close to Vrindavan, and also there are conflicts going all over the place. And this little, you see, breeding was a science, and it was becoming somewhat disrupted. Just like in pedigree for dogs and horses, even chickens, there is a science of how to breed them so they become strong, resistant to disease, and they have beautiful features, etc., etc., and longevity increases, and they have good qualities. This is, the horses become race horses or work horses or whatever. They actually do it with intention. Humans were actually within this parameter that they will be bred for a particular purpose, and particularly the kshatriyas and the royal class. Of course, what we see nowadays of the royal class is just inbreeding, basically. It's just, they're not very qualified at all. But then it was different. They were born with this enormous amount of qualities that they'll belong. They will feel fine where they were, because they were bred for that particular purposes. So they wouldn't mix. They had to have the kshatriyas were very powerful, and women, they were in the kshatriya class as well. And they were powerful, just like when Arjuna snapped Subhadra from her Swayambara, and he actually had to fight the people that were chasing him. So he gave the reins of the chariot to Subhadra, and Subhadra was very comfortable. She was a very good charioteer. Yeah, I'll drive. I'll drive this early model Tesla for you. And while Arjuna was shooting arrows, so they were already in this mood, because they were naturally endowed with this. And all of a sudden, in royal families, people with very dubious character were taking birth. They had the power, but they didn't have the qualities. Like Jarasandha. Jarasandha was quite a sneaky fellow, just kind of toxic and poisonous. But what could you do? Or Duryodhana, Dhritarashtra. There were signs that were evident that Duryodhana was a demon, a great demon being born. There were all kinds of omens. It became dark during the day. Asses would bray very loudly. Crows. I mean, there was all kinds of omens that could be read by anybody. And the Brahmins, the astrologers, they told Dhritarashtra not to have an abortion, because they knew even from before, but they say, have someone else raise this kid. He's bad news. Have someone else raise it, so it's not in the royal family and it's not linked to power, which is a terrible combination. If you raise him as a prince, we're all doomed. But because of blind attachment, pun intended, because Dhritarashtra was blind, for those who didn't know, he just couldn't. He couldn't do it. And this decision, everybody had to pay for that bad decision. So this is what attachment, undue attachment, does. That they raise a demon, literally a demon. The demons in Vedic culture don't have horns and a tail. Don't just give, but they give people nightmares, nevertheless. So the earth at this point, and Prabhupada said that, was overburdened by demons. And there was very little that the kings could do, because the poison was in their own dynasty, within their own families. They had to contend with demons. So what to do? It's time for the boss to appear. And that's what happened, that Krishna had to appear. So we know this verse, yada yada hi dharmasya anirbhavati varata bhutanam dharmasya sambhavami yuge yuge. Every so often, every yuga, I appear myself, Krishna says. So in this case, of course, he showed up, and he showed to be extraordinary. I'm not gonna spoil the end of the movie by telling you about this. I told you that both Urmila and Devamrita Maharaj are gonna talk about this later today. So there is a lot to do today. I just wanted to set up the scene for the appearance of Lord Krishna. And I think it's been a good half hour of setting the scene. That's good enough for the play to begin. So unless there are any questions or comments, we'll stop here and do our respective services. Any questions or comments? All right. Well, that's it. So we will see each other later during the day. There's going to be plenty of activity. Thank you for the encouragement in the chat. All right. All the best to all of you. Happy Janmastami. Gaura Premanande Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Janmastami Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.